And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the heart of the Inland Empire, right here in sunny Southern California, it's Robert Cardoza Live, where we talk about politics, money, and you. This is the intersection of business and politics. And now here's your host, Robert Cardoza.
And welcome aboard. I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And boy, oh boy, have we got a show for you today. You know what? Every day is a good day for around here. The news is what's exciting today because there's so much of it going on. But you know what? On today's show, we're going to discuss what's in the news, new legislation, the IRS loses, and I'm going to answer your emails just like I always do Monday through Friday. And on today's special segments, John Matthews will be joining me today on our twice-a-week simulcast, the Conservative Syndicate. And a little bit later on, hopefully, David Garrett will be here, and we'll be presenting Garrett on the Law. David's in court. We're not sure if he's going to be able to get out in time. If not, we'll all fill in with something. We'll see what the heck is going on. But it's going to be, it promises to be a really exciting show. But right now, I want you to stand by for news. And I just want you to know that at 3:01 p.m. Pacific time, it is currently 72 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. That's on its way down to 52 degrees. That's a whole lot cooler than what it was yesterday, I'll tell you that. But you know what? Let's get into the news. I've encapsulated it here to give you 10 items that you can that are important for you to know about over the weekend. And then we'll get more into depth. There's some interesting stuff going on. Here's the 10 things that you need to know for Friday. Your daily look at late-breaking news, upcoming events, the stories that are going to be talked about today, Friday, and tomorrow. And first up is what the GOP debate revealed about party loyalty. Ted Cruz, Marco Rubio, and John Kasich all say they would support Donald Trump if he is the Republican nominee. He, too, said he would support whoever wins. And Romney and McCain say Trump endangers America's future. You know, they are the establishment, right? The party's most recent presidential nominees lambast the billionaire businessman, calling him unfit for office and a danger for the nation and the GOP. You know, how about, we'll talk more about that. North Korea makes a nuclear threat. Kim Jong-un orders his country's nuclear weapons made ready for use at a moment's notice, the country's official state news agency reports today. And in a field on the edge of Greece, refugees' desperation grows. By the hundreds they come, dragging toddlers and pushing the injured in wheelchairs, a seemingly endless stream of humanity heading north for a better life. And U.S. military beginning to recruit women for combat jobs. All of the services say that they have made required changes in base bathrooms and other facilities to accommodate these women. Well, where Christian Hamlet bears scars of a fierce fighting, residents of Syria's Maula recall the shock they felt when they returned to the town that fell to jihadi militants in 2013 and was recaptured by the Syrian army in 2014. And tech industry groups, security experts, back Apple. Leading U.S. companies join independent programmers and civil liberties advocates who filed court papers backing CEO Tim Cook in his fight with the FBI over the iPhone used by a killer. And who says Americans should pay more attention to the world? Well, this is the advice dispensed by Canada's Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, who also takes a jab at an unnamed U.S. presidential candidate whose rise he attributes to Americans' lack of knowledge of foreign affairs. Then, U.S. seeks into Yellowstone grizzly protections. The move would open the door to future hunts for the fearsome Bruins across a 3-state region. Then, whose suspension is back on the table? Well, Circuit Judge Denny Chin says evidence of ball tampering in Tom Brady's Deflategate is compelling, if not overwhelming, suggesting the quarterback knew about it, consented to it, and encouraged it. Well, let's get into a little more in-depth stuff. Let's talk about police are questioning Brazil's ex-president in a corruption probe. Brazilian police hauled former President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, they got long names over there, from his home and questioned him for about 4 hours today in a sprawling corruption case involving state-run oil company Petrobras that has already ensnared some of the country's most powerful lawmakers and businessmen. The once immensely popular president who governed from 2003 to 2008 2010 and remains a towering figure in Brazil, angrily denounced the morning raid as part of a campaign to sully his image, that of his party, and that of his hand-picked successor, President Dilma Rousseff. Rousseff also expressed her total inconformity with the operation, which she called unnecessary, although she appeared to distance herself from her one-time mentor by barely mentioning Silva in an address Friday afternoon. Well, enough of that. We got enough things going on that way. But let's talk about this. Trump reverses his position on torture targeting civilians. Donald Trump retreated today from his promise that if elected president, he would order the military to kill family members or militants who threaten the United States. Trump's campaign issued a statement quoting him as saying he would not order the military to take actions contrary to international or U.S. law. But fewer than 24 hours earlier in Thursday's GOP debate, Trump stuck to his position on targeting family members of militants and on an expansive use of torture against captured militants. When a debate moderator asked him what he would do if military refused to carry out such orders, Trump replied, "They're not going to refuse me. Believe me. The use of torture and the killing of civilians are barred by the Geneva Convention, to which the United States is a signatory. Congress outlawed waterboarding and any so-called enhanced interrogation techniques after the administration of George W. Bush carried out such acts against suspected al-Qaeda fighters. Members of the U.S. military are bound by duty and tradition to refuse orders they know to be illegal. This includes intentionally targeting civilian non-combatants." So, go figure. Now the heat's coming up, right? Well, how about this? Think Trump was crude? The founding fathers were just as bad. Yeah, well, you could say politics has reached a new low with the small hands remarks from the Republican debate, but the exchange over the size of Donald Trump's hands is merely the most recent vulgarity in American politics. The history of crude remarks goes back to the founding fathers. In the 18th century, John Adams called Alexander Hamilton a bastard brat and wrote that Hamilton had a superabundance of secretions which he could not find whores enough to draw off, according to a historian, Ron Chernow. One difference between then and now, these were words written or spoken in private, not in public, and Chernow, whose Pulitzer Prize-winning biography of Alexander Hamilton helped inspire the hit Broadway musical Hamilton. Chernow says the comments were quoted in letters that survived the centuries. In the 1880s, rumors of Grover Cleveland's out-of-wedlock child led to a song from his Republican opponents, "Mama, Where's My Pa?" When Cleveland won the presidency, the response came, "Gone to the White House. Ha, ha, ha." Well, don't go. I guess it was bad. Don't go away. When we come back, we're going to talk about Fox earns fans with its own debate performances, and we'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages. Do not go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Leinberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now from Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. You know what? Hang in there. Right after the news, we're going to do the IRS loses. But let's get on with the news. And the first up here is Fox earns fans with its own debate performances. Fox News Channel has emerged a winner of this raucous and impactful debate season with its sharp, detailed questioning of the candidates, not allowing itself to be distracted by the Megyn Kelly-Donald Trump feud or the candidates' increased vitriol. More than civic exercises, the debates are television entertainment spectacles that have forced moderators to become referees as much as interrogators. After the first GOP match last summer on Fox drew 24 million viewers, the audience for only one of the 10 to follow has dipped below 12 million, on par with the top primetime entertainment series. Now, Thursday's debate averaged just under 17 million viewers. Fox has used the same moderating team of Kelly, Brett Baier, and Chris Wallace for all three of its debates. The network set a tough tone at the start of last summer with the question from Kelly that set Trump off, confronting him about prior commitments about women, or comments about women. Right away, it dispelled the notion that the network most popular with Republicans would go easy on its candidates. Fox has been both fair and reasonable in their questions, said Todd Graham, director of debate at Southern Illinois University, who has written about the primary debates. They have been tough on the Republicans, but they have not been unfair. They have been very good in their research. Well, we'll see what happens. They certainly have been doing their homework, at least for the last part of what was going on. They certainly did. I'll give you that anyhow. How about this? Discovery of the knife is the latest twist in the O.J. Simpson case. Well, in a case that's had more unexpected, startling, and outrageous twists than television's best crime show writer could actually concoct, Los Angeles police revealed today they are examining a knife that we're told was found at the home where O.J. Simpson was living when he was charged and later acquitted of stabbing to death his ex-wife and her friend more than 20 years ago. The knife, believed to have been recovered by a construction worker tearing down the house and then given to an off-duty cop, surfaced just as the popular People versus O.J. Simpson American Crime Story anthology is airing on the FX television channel. Smells a little bit, doesn't it? A citizen supposedly found the knife and turned it over to a now retired police motorcycle officer who was working as a security guard at a filming location, Police Captain Andy Neiman said. It was being analyzed by an LAPD crime lab for DNA or other material that could possibly link it to the killings. Neiman stressed that the authenticity of the story was not confirmed, and investigators were looking into whether this whole story is possibly bogus from the get-go. Well, I wonder why they would suspect that. Yeah. New TV series? Well, Turkish-Russian tensions are not felt in the village near the border. In this Syrian mountain village perched above the Mediterranean, residents say they have enjoyed a measure of peace, even though they live near a border that has been escalating tensions in recent months between Turkey and Russia. The villagers, most of whom were members of Syria's Turkmen ethnic minority, have formed their own militia, but they rely heavily on the Syrian army, said Al-Lesawaz, the mayor, Mustafa Youssef Kafe. On Friday, hundreds of them lined up to receive a truckload of food, water, and other humanitarian aid sent by Moscow, a longtime ally of Syrian President Bashar Assad. The delivery was part of a ceasefire that began last weekend in a 5-year-old civil war between Assad and the rebels trying to oust him from power. We live in peace here, and we are very grateful to Russia for the help it is offering, the mayor told international reporters on a trip to the village organized by Russia's foreign and defense ministries. I wonder if that was just for public use and not the reality. Who knows? We'll see. If the folks were able to get needed supplies, I'm good with it. And studies add more evidence of Zika's risk to pregnant women. The Zika virus may be linked to a wider variety of grave outcomes for developing babies than previously reported. Threats that come at any stage of pregnancy, researchers reported today. The findings are preliminary results from the first study tracking pregnant women in Brazil and from the time that they were infected, and do not prove that Zika is to blame. But they come as separate laboratory research released Friday strengthens the case that Zika causes a serious birth defect called microcephaly. Babies born with abnormally small heads by targeting embryonic brain cells. It's much more than microencephaly, said Dr. Karen Nielsen of the University of California, Los Angeles, who led the pregnancy study with colleagues at the Fiocruz Institute in Brazil. It seems like it can act on multiple fronts. Well, we'll see what happens. We keep following it, but our own Sean Lefebvre is very skeptical of this and not really a supporter of the facts as they're being put out. Well, strong U.S. job growth in February helps dispel recession fears. A robust February jobs report showcased a resilient U.S. economy, just as fears of a new recession had begun to surface. Economic reports in recent weeks had fueled anxieties about a looming downturn. Manufacturers were slumping. Stocks had plummeted. China was slowing sharply along with other emerging markets. The rising dollar had crushed exports. But last month, U.S. employers sent a clear message of confidence. They added a healthy 242,000 jobs, while the unemployment rate held at a low 4.9%. The government said today the gains showed that the economy is surmounting its challenges without suffering much damage. Now, do not go away, because when we come back, we're going to talk about the IRS loses. The first case up is an appeals officer cannot review consecutive tax bills. I'll tell you all about that as soon as we come back.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. association with the nationally syndicated Celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make the interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Oh, yeah, here we are, my favorite part of the show, the IRS loses. Well, it's my personal favorite part of the show anyway. I love the whole show. It's my show. Why wouldn't I? Here's where we are. The IRS loses. An appeals officer cannot review consecutive tax bills. A couple sought to avoid a levy to collect their 2000 taxes, but an IRS appeals officer ruled against them, noting that they had apparently underpaid their taxes in 2001 and 2002 as well. Later, the IRS moved to collect tax for those years. The couple went to IRS appeals again, were assigned the same appeals officer, and he ruled against them again. They protested that the law requires an appeals officer to be impartial and have no prior involvement with the tax being assessed. This is the IRS's position. The appeals officer had no role in assessing the 2001 and 2002 taxes. But here's what the judge said. The appeals officer had previously used those tax bills as evidence against the couple, so he was not impartial, and they get a new hearing. That's the way it ought to be. Fairness to everybody, not just fairness to the IRS. How about this? The IRS loses. Tax court may review frivolous return penalties. Here's the case. A couple filed a return reporting their tax due and an overpayment and claiming a refund. They also wrote on the return that the IRS had violated their civil rights, mentioning a civil suit that they had filed against it. The IRS imposed a $500 frivolous return penalty as a result. They protested in tax court, but the IRS said that the court had no jurisdiction to review the penalty. Here's what the judge said. Tax code changes made in 2006 gave the court jurisdiction to review these penalties. And here, in spite of the couple's statements, they apparently had filed an accurate return and did not invoke any of the IRS's own list of frivolous arguments. So their case will be heard. Shame on the IRS. You know, they just want to flex their muscles, right? Yeah, and they got big ones. I'll give you that. How about this? The IRS loses. This is a good one. Medical residents are exempt from the FICA tax. Here's the case. Federal law says that FICA employment tax does not apply to wages earned for services provided to a college or university by a student enrolled in regularly attending classes there. So, a university said that it did not owe FICA tax on wages that it paid to its medical residents who worked in a local hospitals. Here's what the IRS's reply was. IRS regulations state that students who work full-time do not qualify for the exemption. Moreover, students who work full-time at hospitals do not attend classes at the university. Well, this is what a wise judge said from the court bench. The IRS regulation is invalid because it contradicts the law. And a hospital setting is the necessary classroom setting for medical students. So, the exemption absolutely does apply. Don't you just love this stuff? Well, now we're getting to a section that we like to refer to as inside the IRS. Wouldn't you like to be a fly on the wall when the IRS is making decisions? Well, that's where we're at here. We could call it the Twilight Zone. Oh, yeah, here we are at the, I was going to say at the Twilight Zone, but it's not really at the Twilight Zone. It's really inside the IRS. And, you know, we've got a couple of good cases that we want to give you for today. The first one up here, and you know what, I said cases. They're not cases. These are precedents that the IRS had set, but they're not really tax court cases. And the first one is deducting medical expenses even if you're not sick. You know, under IRS rules, a deduction will be allowed for an expense paid for the diagnosis, cure, mitigation, treatment, or prevention of disease. Now, for the purposes affecting any structure or function of the body. What about a pregnancy test? The IRS ruled in Revenue Ruling 2007-72 that the amount paid for a pregnancy test qualifies as an expense for medical care since it affects the function of the body. Also deductible, although not part of the revenue ruling, whirlpool baths prescribed by a physician and a mattress bought specifically to alleviate an arthritic condition are also deductible. Let me tell you, there is a whole list of things that you can deduct under this scenario if you just think about it. You know what? But you got to make sure it's honest, but just think about it. How about this? What the IRS lawyers are saying to each other and to the field officers, you know, until overturned by the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia, the chief counsel of the IRS took the position that emails containing legal advice drafted by an IRS lawyer, even though they took very little time to prepare, in fact, less than 2 hours, should be treated the same as telephone conversations and were therefore not required to be publicly disclosed. The current rule? IRS attorneys are therefore not required to be publicly disclosed. The IRS attorneys are required to copy all emailed legal advice to a special electronic inbox from which they are to be released consistent with the usual disclosure laws. So kind of keep that in mind as things are moving around. You know, the IRS continually tries to have it their own way, but you got to be careful with this stuff. How about, you ever wonder about how to deal when you're dealing with the IRS? If you'd like the IRS to decide the status of your workers, for example, because you're confident of a position decision, you can file Form SS-8, which is a determination of worker status for purposes of federal employment taxes and income tax withholding with the IRS for review. There's a trap here, though. In many cases, the IRS rules that a company submitting Form SS-8 has employees and not contractors. And the result, you might be better off just reading the form to see what concerns the IRS. An example, list the benefits available to the worker. For example, paid vacation, sick pay, pensions, bonuses, paid holidays, personal days, insurance benefits. Then you can structure your relationship with the workers to boost the chance that it will conform to the IRS's idea of an independent contractor status. Now, do not go away, because when we come back, we're going to be with our own John Matthews, and we're going to be doing our simulcast on the Conservative Syndicate Corner. Don't go away, folks. We'll be right back.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you. And now, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you from the basement of his strategic planning room located at his political hideaway in Los Angeles County, the dedicated man who stands and serves the political conscience of our nation, Mr. John Matthews.
And before we talk to John, I want to bring you back into the news. I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And at 3:34 p.m. Pacific time, it's still 73 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's on its way down to 52 degrees. But you know what? If you're listening to us on our syndicated global network, if you're in New York City, it's 38 degrees and partly cloudy. And in Chicago, Illinois, well, 37 degrees and mostly cloudy. So you know what? You kind of know what's going on, but there's nothing like the Southland if you're here. We'll be giving you some other weather locations as we go farther on. You know, I'm thrilled about what's going to be happening here in about 30 seconds. John Matthews will be calling. We do a bi-weekly or simulcast. And what I mean to say is twice a week, Mondays and Fridays, John and I do a simulcast. He's on my show, I'm on his show at the same time. And we just add his listeners to mine and my listeners to his for a half hour of talk about conservative politics and what's going on in the world. We're both a little skeptical of what the GOP is doing these days. But John will be calling in and he'll be telling us all about it. And you're going to want to know what's happening. There he is right now. And we are with our own John Matthews in the Conservative Syndicate Corner. Hey, John, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, how are you doing, my friend?
I am doing well. It's Friday, man. I made it through another week.
Well, it's one of those surreal weeks for me. I'm feeling like I'm in the Twilight Zone. John Kasich won the debate last night, and Lindsey Graham endorsed Ted Cruz. So, I mean, how much more unrealistic can we get?
You know what, John? I got to tell you, it's just a personal feeling, and I'm sure that's not really what you want to talk about, but I am convinced that the GOP is going to implode this year. It's just going to cease to exist. There's just too much of this childish stuff going on. I mean, did you see you saw the debate. You know what? It was like a the schoolyard fight going on. Can you believe that somebody that we're going to choose to be president of the United States is slinging that kind of mud at a national debate that's supposed to show us their qualities to be president of the United States?
Yeah, well, I think what should happen after last night is everybody should drop their pants and let's see who has the biggest hands.
Yeah. I've never heard it put quite that way. but you know what? I just think it's so vulgar and so inappropriate and so, so sick. The only guy that showed any class last night at all was Kasich. He didn't get drawn into this thing. But the good news is today, Ben Carson dropped out of the running.
Well, I mean, yeah, but Carson didn't have that many people, and how that ends up, I don't know how that's going to go. I think a majority of the Carson people may end up in the Kasich camp, actually. I hope they would head more towards the Cruz camp, but they're certainly not going to go to Trump. And Rubio, I think, has just decided that he's going to be the junkyard dog. I've got a whole theory about this. A lot of it is fitting what I've been saying now for several months. But, these little things that have been popping in here in the last few weeks, especially since the last debate when Rubio decided he was going to become Trump Jr., and try to out Trump. But I think what's happened here, there's several aspects of this. I did want to mention one thing. Mm-hmm. Best tweet I saw today came from Ann Coulter, and I'm not a big Ann Coulter fan, but she had the best tweet that I've seen so far today. She said, illegals are pouring in over the border, and ISIS is beheading people, but Marco Rubio is manning the phones to find students at Trump University. I thought, it doesn't get much better than that.
No. I just... There's a part of me that gets nauseated every time I see Rubio these days.
Earlier in the week, I mentioned this on my show, and Megyn Kelly had a 2-hour special last week, and she pulled in 4 of the candidates. Trump didn't show up, but she the other 4, put them in a room for half an hour with voters and let the voters ask the questions. And then she made sure that the candidates stayed on point as to what the questions were. And really, after listening to that, and after listening to the last 2 debates, the answers have been exactly the same from the candidates, minus all the noise, minus all the bickering and the name calling and everything else. And they've laid their policies out and what they're going to do and how they're going to do it. So I'm beginning to think that maybe the debate process itself should just be turned over to these focus group kind of things. Let's put these candidates in a room with the voters and let the voters grill them.
Oh, I think that's a great idea. I just, it's big. It's just become a circus is what's happened. But I'll tell you this, I was really impressed with what Fox did last night in that they actually finally did their homework. And when people were spouting, and it was specifically really about Trump, but when he was spouting these numbers and the things he was going to do, they actually had visuals that they had prepared with the real numbers, showing that there was a fallacy in the numbers that were being discussed.
Oh, I think one of the biggest things exposed last night, particularly about Donald Trump, was this big argument over Trump University and the Better Business Bureau rating. And what we find out is that what Trump did was he did what a lot of business people do. He changed the name of the university and was able to get an A rating from the BBB because it was a different company. It was a company under a different name, but under Trump University, it had a D rating, and he was exposed to that. Yeah. So I think one of the other things I thought they did was really good last night was the montage of things that Trump had said in the past. And they said, now you're saying this. And then they played 3 or 4 clips of him saying the exact opposite somewhere else.
Well, did you see the news today where Trump actually finally reversed himself on torturing families of terrorists?
Oh, yeah. I mean, but I think the biggest thing here, there's 2 things I can't get my head around right now. And that's why I'm sticking to my basic strategy right now. Mm-hmm. Don't know what Mitt Romney or the people that put him up thought they were going to accomplish by him coming out. We're talking about a guy that ran 3 times for president, lost the nomination twice, and got his butt kicked. And when he finally did win, in one of the worst landslides that we've ever had. It's like, let's call Jimmy Carter and talk about how to be a president.
John, they played right into Trump's hands. That was the establishment that is actually supporting Trump. I'm sorry, let me put it another way. That plays into Trump's hands in that the establishment that we're all opposed to right now is now bomb blasting Trump to try and get him stopped. And that's why Trump has got all these supporters. My guess is when the next poll comes out, that Trump is actually going to move up in the polls again.
I think it's going to be a great boost for Trump. That's what I can't figure out. What was the strategy? Was the idea to try to wake up the Republican base? The Republican base isn't going to vote for Trump anyway. The people that want Marco Rubio or John Kasich at this point, yeah, not going to vote for Donald Trump no matter what. So what is it? Are you trying to remind the base that the object of the game here is to fall in line with what the Republican leaders want and what they've determined we need? Whatever it did it's going to have the exact opposite effect. It's going to invigorate the Trump people. Yeah. And it's going to show the establishment as the elitists that they are, even more so. So I don't know what the strategy was behind that.
Yeah, you know what? You know what? The only thing I can think of, could they be that thick-headed? Could they be that obtuse that they don't realize what's going on, or are they doing it by design?
Well, that's the only thing I can figure. The delusion that drives the left ideology, that government knows what's best and what we want or what we think is important is not important, then the Republican establishment has fallen into that mindset that, you people just have no clue what's going on here. So it's not your choice. It's who we're going to choose for you. Yeah. It's like Wasserman Schultz when she was explaining the superdelegates for the Democrats. Mm-hmm. He created the superdelegates for the sole purpose of making sure that no grassroots activists would ever have to deal, or we would ever have to deal with any grassroots activists taking over the party. And that, I think the Republicans are trying to do their own version of this and are completely out of touch. And maybe they do think, Gruber's theorem, I float this all the time. The stupidity of the American voter, maybe it's driving the Republican Party. They think, yeah, you guys are just as stupid as the people who vote for Obama.
Well, you know what? I heard Michael Steele say something the other day, and Reince Priebus said the same thing, or in a different way, and it kind of caught my mind. When they said, and I heard them saying that if Donald Trump wins the nomination because he gets the delegates before the convention, then what the GOP is going to do is they're going to fold up their cards, go away, and they're going to start a whole new party.
I think what will happen if Donald Trump is not cut short. See, that's part of my strategy. I don't think he's going to get the delegates. There's several reasons for that. Mm-hmm. We're coming up on a break here, and I'll explain that when we get back here. But at this point, I think what the GOP, the last resort will be that they throw somebody out there in a third party to try to draw votes away from Trump. Yeah. But if they do that, yes, the Republican Party, as we know it, is officially dead. I think it's already dead. I think it's on life support. Somebody's going to pull the plug.
Yeah, I'm with you. Hey, John, let's take our break, and then we'll come back and talk some more.
Okay, guys, we'll be right back. Stay with us.
All right, we'll be right back with John Matthews in the Syndicate, the Conservative Syndicate Corner. Don't go away, folks.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman.
And we're back with John Matthews in the Conservative Syndicate. Hey, John, how you doing, buddy?
All right. We're back here. Okay. Anyway, we were talking about before the break here what direction the Republican Party is going into. The last resort might be to throw a third candidate out there. I don't know how that would really help the Republican elites, in the sense that right now all they're concerned about is retaining their Senate majority. So to throw a third party candidate out there would dilute that objective. But what I do see happening, what I do believe is going on here, is the strategy is to, first and foremost, keep Trump from getting the delegates that he needs to claim the nomination. Now, how do they do that? Well, you keep Marco Rubio in there as the hitman, and you keep John Kasich in there, and each one of these guys will win some delegates. Yeah. And the idea is that maybe between them, they can dilute the delegate count, keep Trump away from the 1,200, and I believe it's 1,263 that he needs, or 73 that he needs to claim the nomination.
Well, I mean, if Rubio, which I think is doubtful, but if Rubio could take Florida, and if Kasich could take Ohio, then they could probably accomplish the stop, don't you think?
Well, they would take a major number, because now we're coming into the primaries where it's all or nothing.
Yeah.
So, but what you have to do, here's the way it works, is that you've got to reach a certain threshold. I believe in some of these states you've got to at least get 20% to be able to take anything. Okay, then you've got the RNC rule that you've got to take 50% or more in at least 8 states to be able to claim anything. And I think that's the ace in their hand. That if Trump can win, if he takes and even if he gets the delegates, if 8 of the states are not 50% or more, then they can say, rules are the rules. That's what Reince Priebus is out there saying. Hey, the rules have been around for 100 years. Of course, they didn't tell us that this rule was just changed 2 years ago. But but the point being is that that's what they're saying. They're saying, oh, we're not going to do a brokered convention. We're not going to know. This isn't the way it works. But that only is, he says the way Priebus said it was, whoever gets the majority of delegates will support. Well, the underlying theme under that is if they get the delegates, we'll support them. So I think what's happened is Rubio has been promised to be the guy they pitch should Donald Trump not get the delegate count that he needs, and they go to a brokered convention. So he's just unleashed everything.
Let's talk about that for a second, John. What really do you think will happen if the majority of people have chosen, and the delegates are there, even though they don't reach that magic number of delegates for Donald Trump? What do you think the Republican the base is going to do if they don't pick the guy that had the most electoral votes? Or not electoral votes, but delegate votes?
I think in the minds of the Republican elites, the best of all worlds is that all these Trump supporters stay home and Hillary wins the election.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking. Or they're so mad they don't stay home. They vote for Hillary.
Yeah, or one or the other.
Yeah.
But the point being is that will achieve. See, this is the goal of the Republican Party. This is the thing that the elephant in the room, if I may say, that nobody wants to pay attention to. Mm-hmm. It's the Republican Party does not want to govern. And so what it is that if you get another Democrat in the White House, they're going to go right back to their old ploy of saying, we don't have the presidency. There's nothing we can do.
Yeah.
So what we have is a Republican Party that does not want to govern. And so anything that puts them in that position that they have to deal with a Trump or a Cruz that will call them and say, hey, look, you keep telling us you're limited government. You keep telling us you want to overturn everything Obama's done. I'm the guy now that won't veto anything that you pass. Now let's get to work. Now the Republicans have to do what? They're exposed as who they really are because they really don't want anything to change.
But if they don't, okay, that's which answers why they're being so obstructionist at this time.
The Republicans have been governing by default over the last 8 years.
Yeah.
What they've been doing is nothing. And not talking and not articulating is kind of this laissez-faire attitude that whatever happens, happens. And then they can just lay it off on the fact that we don't have a president in the White House. This is the first Congress we've had that would ever use that excuse. When you look at Carter, you look at Reagan, you look at even Clinton and Bush Jr., they dealt with opposition parties and got things done or got some of their agenda passed. This Congress doesn't want to do that. They don't want to stand up for anything. They just want to talk the talk and then just keep their jobs. That's the name of the game here.
So, John, what do you think is going to happen now that Paul Ryan has actually given permission, and so has McConnell, given permission to the representatives and the senators to actually put up negative ads against Trump? When they're running in their places, what do you think that their followers are going to do about that? Don't you think that they're going to rebel and we're going to lose seats in both houses?
Well, see, we're presupposing that the average American voter will see that as we see it. That they'll see it as an action by an elitist who's out of touch with what the constituency wants, and so therefore we're going to rebel. The Republicans are banking on what they know to be true, and that is the average American voter doesn't know their ass from a hole in the ground.
Yeah, well, I can concur with that.
So, that's where we're at here, is that what have the Republicans been doing at least the last 3 election cycles? Marginalizing their base. Election time, hey, we're all for you guys. We're going to stop Obama. We're going to turn this thing around. We're going to get back to small government. We're going to lower taxes. We're going to make everything great. And then the elections come. They get the majorities they want, and they don't do anything. And then they just cry, well, we don't have the power. We don't have the power. And so, what do? They marginalize this next election cycle. They're just hoping that enough people all they care about is if those senators get reelected. They don't care about losing the White House, and they can lose some in the House, and it's not going to make any difference. So it's all about self-preservation. It's not about governing. It's about, I want to make sure I get my pension.
Yeah. And it's got nothing to do with you and me. It's got to do with their own security and not ours.
Yeah. So I think where they're blind at, where they're really blind at, is that what will happen is that the party will implode, and they might survive this election cycle, but they won't survive after that. We will head down that road of European socialism, and we will become part of that confederacy over there. Our government is determined by a few small people, and everybody else is just a spokesperson.
Yeah. You know what? It doesn't. But doesn't that sadden you that it's so obvious, and yet they're still going to get away with it?
Well, yeah, it does. It saddens me greatly because of the side of this thing that very few people pay attention to is the spiritual aspect of it. Because in the process of all this happening, the moral gauge which has guided our country and has allowed us to have the blessing and the protection and the prosperity that we've had, that shield is going to be gone. And now what we have is we have the evil elements of spirituality. I'm not talking about a theocracy or anything like that. Just the moral fiber of our nation is declining, and we're heading into anarchy. Yeah. And once that happens, once it becomes whatever you want to do is okay, and that's where we're heading rapidly, then all this other stuff, what is it going to lead to? It's going to, the only way you stop anarchy is what? Through tyranny.
Oh, yeah.
So that's where we're at. And I look at it as a spiritual place. I don't want to get on my sermon pulpit here, but from a spiritual aspect, I look at it like this. We are on the cusp of judgment. This election is going to tell us one thing. Is God listening to the prayers of his people who are saying, please, God, don't smash us? Or God's going to say, no, you've gone too far. Consider yourself smashed.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's going to be one or the other.
Hey, listen, we've got about 30 seconds. Why don't you give us an update on Joe Hakos? We're missing this man.
So Joe is feeling better. What happened with Joe was he got a staph infection about 3 months ago. And the staph infection cleared up, but it set off some other things. He contracted some problems with his lymph nodes and urinary tract infection, some problems with his kidney. It filtered down into his body, and he got hit with a triple whammy all at the same time.
Wow.
So they have been dumping antibiotics in him and everything. And I talked to him yesterday. He's feeling better. He's just weak. He's lost over 40 pounds.
Wow.
Weeks. So he's recovering. And I just told him, and he's anxious. He's like, I got to get back. Like, don't worry about it, man. I want you back in one piece.
Yeah, so, absolutely. You know, and all of our prayers are with him. Hey, give yourself a 30-second commercial here real quick.
Yeah, just visit our website, theconservativesyndicate.net. You can listen to all of our show archives or read about our people, the people on our panel. Bob is one of those people on our panel. We stream Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. out on the West Coast, 6 on the East Coast. Just visit our website, theconservativesyndicate.net.
Hey, John, thanks again. And I look forward to talking to you on Monday.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Leinberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchase high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson & Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you from the bowels of the Hall of Justice, our own legal guru, David Garrett, attorney at law.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the Street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:01 p.m. Pacific Time. Currently 73 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's going to be on its way down to 51 degrees. And if you're listening to us on our global syndicated network and you're in Paris, France, well, it's 39 degrees and mostly cloudy. And if you're in Rome, Italy, it's 43 degrees and partly cloudy. And here's a guy that I'm sure he's huffing and puffing, and he could probably lost his breath. He had to run from his car to his phone. He just got out of court. David Garrett. Hey, David, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm good. I can't. You know what? That timing was absolutely perfect. Your intro was ending just as you phoned in, and you talk about timing. I can't believe you were actually, because it wasn't that long ago. You sent me hey, I'm caught in traffic. I'm going to be a minute late, and sure enough, you were right on it.
Boy, I'll tell you, that was dumb luck. I needed it today.
So, you know what, and you know what, we had to talk about this for a little bit. You know, everybody has this thought about, or false impression about, what an attorney's life is all about, and how great it is, and all those things. And I think that nobody ever talks about, especially if you're a criminal attorney, as you are, or you know, that you actually are at the beck and call of the judge, of the courts, and your life is not your own.
No, they have an ability to control one's calendar.
Yeah, you know, it surprises me that. Well, I guess it doesn't surprise me. It just seems so unique that you work so hard to become such a professional, to be so knowledgeable, and that judge flexes their muscles because they sit there on that bench, and you don't have any control. I suppose they're a little bit sensitive to what your needs are, but I think that they enjoy the fact that they say, "No, counselor, we'll see you here at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning."
Yeah, you know, actually, I think a lot of these judges are kind of caught in the middle, because you've got the needs of, you know, the legal professionals, and getting through to court on time. You can't be two places at the same time, and everything else. And then you've got the legislature on the other side that's, say, imposing time constraints for things to be done, but they don't want to fund the court system. So it's
yeah, it's crazy. That's crazy.
I've ran into judges that just like to give you grief for no apparent reason. You can have those in any profession.
Because they can, right?
Exactly. But by and large, I've found most of them to understand how the real world works. So,
you know what? I would guess that especially if they just got on the bench, that if they were practicing law and all of a sudden they just got on the bench, they're probably a lot more sensitive to the schedules of the attorneys at that point before they've been seasoned too long.
Yeah, I think that's a fair statement. Yeah.
So listen, what's pushing your hot button these days?
Well, I got a couple kind of interesting things to talk about. One's
well, I'm sorry. Before you do that, there was something I knew I wanted to ask you, and I don't know if you saw it in the news today, but it's right up your alley. They have discovered the knife. They think they've discovered the knife from the O.J. Simpson killings. They were demolishing his old house, and one of the construction guys found the knife, turned it over to a police officer, an off-duty police officer. And that he knew, who they're now testing it for DNA to link it to the crime and stuff. But I thought it was. I want to ask you a couple questions about that. But I want to tell you, I thought it was a little odd that the timing of this would happen just as this O.J. Simpson series is starting on television. It just makes you go, But let's say they find this knife and they do find DNA on it. There's no statute of limitation on murder. Can they take O.J. back into court? Or no, he was found not guilty, right?
Yeah, so you got double jeopardy attached.
So even if they find it, all they can do is say, yeah, we found the knife, we found Nicole Simpson's blood on it, and I can't remember the guy's name, something Brown, right?
Right.
And we found his blood, and then we also found some skin cells from O.J. on there, so we know that he did it, right? Except we can't do a thing about it anymore.
Yeah, it was Ronald Goldman was the guy's name.
That's right. So at that point, then Simpson just kind of laughs into the camera. Other than he's never gonna get out of prison for his antics in Las Vegas, I guess.
Yeah, if they find that, I would suspect that any parole board in Las Vegas would probably, even if they don't on the record, at least have a background consideration of the fact that they found the knife and it ties everything together. So
yeah, justice will be served. What do you recall what sentence he got for the assault and the theft and stuff that he was doing in Vegas?
Let me see. I can find that real quick. It was a fairly hard sentence, as I remember.
Yeah, it was a tough one. I mean, he's been in jail for years.
Yeah. Let's see.
So while you're looking, I'm going to continue talking while you're looking. And okay. that way we don't have any dead air. It just seems to me that he got a really severe sentence because the judge didn't believe he was innocent of the murder, the horrific murders that were going on. And so I think that's what prompted the judge to give him the maximum that he could get. It was really shocking, based on what he was found guilty of doing, the sentence that came down. But I'm sure that's what the reason was. But I'm thinking, God, he must be getting kind of close to being able to get out at this point.
Yeah, I found that sentence. He's sentenced to 33 years on December 5th, 2008, and eligibility for parole in 9 years. So he would be coming up and eligible for parole in roughly a year and a half, give or take a little bit.
Mm. So, I mean, God, I thought I thought it was longer ago than that. Was it only 8 years? Was it only 2008 when that took place?
That was the date of his sentencing. Yeah, December 5th, 2008.
Oh.
I think it was October of 2008 that he was probably convicted.
Okay, so he actually could be coming up on parole, but based on this, or maybe not even based on that, just based on the fact that everybody believes he was guilty, just deny their. Does the parole board have to have a reasonable and justifiable reason for denying parole?
Well, I think it's more of the defendant's responsibility to show that he's a proper individual to be put out on parole. Does that make sense?
Not really. Are you saying that he's been an exemplary prisoner, and he's taking classes, and he's helping out, and that he's they feel that he would no longer be a detriment to society, and he's got to prove this on his own?
I think that's what he's got to show the parole board is, they consider all the background factors, mm-hmm. and then look at him and say, could he function well on parole? And would the interest of justice still be satisfied if he's out on parole? Mm. So I don't believe it's a situation where the parole board, it's an obligation for them to keep him incarcerated. So it's more of an obligation of the defendant to show he's eligible.
Okay, so
or appropriate for parole.
But it's not an arbitrary thing. If he can actually show that that it's appropriate that he would be paroled, then can they arbitrarily just say no?
I don't like the use of the word arbitrarily, but
I don't know. I don't know another word for it.
Yeah, I think they have broad discretion in what they do.
Okay. So what was it you had a couple of cases you want to talk about? I'm sorry for interrupting you, but I saw this came in the news today, and I found it interesting, and I thought, well, what are the ramifications of something like that? And obviously, the only ramifications are we'd know for certain who did it, right?
Yeah, basically. Yeah. I had an interesting case out of Supreme Court, and I'd kind of like your thoughts on this. Mm-hmm. This comes back to our 2008 housing bubble. Mm-hmm. Okay, so this lady has her house, and she isn't paying on it, and it gets foreclosed on. If you'll remember back then, everybody was selling these securities, the security interest in the house, amongst the banks. They were just transferring them all over the place. Mm-hmm. Well, what happens is the bank that does the non-judicial foreclosure didn't get a valid assignment before they foreclosed on the property. It was, somebody had screwed up the paperwork and it didn't get actually assigned. So somebody brought a suit for wrongful foreclosure. You have what the dynamic is you've got a person that's never paying on the loan. You got a bank that for, most likely paperwork reasons isn't the proper processor.
Right. It's a technicality here.
Kind of a technicality thing. But they went ahead and foreclosed anyway. Hmm. And, in the past, there'd been some kind of theories that, hey, if you're not current on your loan, you kind of get out of here. Don't bother the court's idea.
Yeah.
Why should you be afforded a remedy? And the Supreme Court has kind of overturned that.
Okay.
It says,
so I'm sorry. Explain to me what you mean by the Supreme Court overturned it. The Supreme Court found that the bank should not have done the foreclosure, or found that it was okay that the bank did it.
Found the bank that where the paperwork's messed up, the person that was in the house can challenge the foreclosure.
You know what? There's a part of me, there's a part of me that says, hey, you know what? The rules are the rules, and even big banks have to follow the rules. There was a time when, remember when they needed to notarize signatures and do all these different documents and things, and they had one guy that was doing all these things, just mass doing them, and they weren't legitimate. And Bank of America got caught up in that deal. And but even in this case, the bank should be, especially the bank, who's got probably a whole building full of attorneys. They should make sure that they're following the rules. That's why the rules are there. But on the other hand, the person that was living in the house and not making the payments, they knew their time was limited. Even if they have the ability to sue the bank, what real damages were done? The bank, it was on a technicality. The people hadn't done anything with the payments. The bank took the house over. It's been sold probably a long time ago. They can't take the house away from the people they sold it to. So the only thing they can do is compensate the people that lost the house. But the truth is, I don't believe they're entitled to any compensation anyway just because of a technicality.
Yeah, and and I kind of go down the same path you do. The thing that kind of disturbs me here and that isn't addressed in this case is, let's assume I'm the guy that bought the house out of foreclosure, right, and am now living in it. Yeah. Where's the actual title to this property?
Well, that's it seems to me that when the bank sold it to them, they probably then, maybe known or unknown to them, had to produce false documents to transfer a fee simple title to the new buyer. Yeah, and they had to register that with the county where the property is residing.
Yeah, and that's what they screwed up. So, I mean, you get to the point where that original foreclosure is void because the entity foreclosing didn't have the legal authority to foreclose.
Okay, but now you have because is this in California, by the way? Do you know?
Yeah, it is a California case.
So you get into another part of the real estate law that gets involved here, and that is. What do they call that? It's a possession issue, and I can't think of the name.
Are you thinking of eminent or? What's the word?
It's when you have possession of the property, and I can't think of it. There's another name for it, and I just can't think
adverse possession.
Adverse possession, yeah. If you have adverse possession, that means that you are not hiding. You're in plain view. You are possessing the property. You're handling it like it was your own, and you're paying the taxes, and you're doing everything, and you've done it for a 5-year period. That's the limit on it in California law, real estate law. Then it is yours. And now, adverse possession generally used to be with the boundary disputes, where people, right, they'd put a fence up and they'd put it on their other guy's lawn or property. He discovered it, but he didn't discover it until like 7 years later. Well, after 5 years, and it was on the open, that actually reverted back to being this guy's property. He actually got it for nothing. And adverse possession, I'm guessing, works the same way with the house itself. The guy lived in it. He paid the taxes on it. He was in plain sight. Nobody said anything about it. Nobody did anything about it. If he'd been in there for 5 years, it seems to me that same law would apply.
Yeah. And, and in that theory, it would rest title in the new buyer.
Yeah.
But what about my loan that I've got on the property?
You mean for the new buyer?
Yeah.
Well, if the new buyer has title and the loan actually had been attached to the property with that buyer's name, seems to me it would still be intact.
Yeah, and I think that's how it should work out. I'm not sure that that's how it would work out, because normally the adverse possession is against the original, whoever had title to begin with.
True,
And
which is the person who actually is filing suit against the bank for the improper foreclosure, right?
Right.
So the people. Has it been a 5-year period? Is what would now come into question.
Yeah, and whether you can have an adverse possession subject to your own financing arrangement.
Yeah. And it gets you into a whole nother area. You know what? We actually have to take a break. Let's take a break. I want to talk some more about this. This is fascinating. There's another area that we need to talk about when it comes to this in the financing and everything else, and that is the requirement of title search. We'll talk more to David about that right after these brief messages. Do not go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the Street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:23 p.m. Pacific time, finally starting to go down at 68 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, if you're listening to us on our global syndicated network and you're in London, England, it's 37 degrees and clear. And if you're in Vienna, Austria, 37 and clear. Wow. You know what? We're talking to our own David Garrett on the law. Hey, David, I was thinking during the commercial, but just before we went on a commercial break, and that is, when people buy homes, especially in a traditional way, and even the foreclosure, that's going to be purchased in a traditional way, you are required to have a title search and title insurance, which the bank would have had to get, and so did the buyer. The seller and the buyer get it. And so they get the title insurance, which means that if then there is a cloud on title, it's cured at that time, and if the title companies insure the house. So even if the guy was going to lose the house, the title company would have to insure that title and insure the loan and pay everything off.
Yeah, and I agree that that's ultimately where it would come down. The policy considerations in that, though, is to transfer the loss of these knucklehead banks not doing their assignment correctly over to the title insurance industry.
And my guess is and I'm just vague on a lot of this stuff. It's been so many years since I've dealt with this stuff, but I remember the Bank of America issue just being one of exactly that. They had one guy that was just blanket doing this thing. He was overwhelmed with what was going on. He was just stamping these things and forging signatures to them, and creating this almost assembly line of foreclosures and stuff that was going on, and I don't doubt that didn't happen with a lot of different banks in a lot of different areas, and that many people their foreclosures were abused. There's just a part of me that says, come on, guys, get real. You probably haven't made payments on your house in 1, 2, 3 years, maybe longer, and you knew you were going to lose the house, and now all you want is a free check, right? Because the bank forgot to dot an I somewhere. Nobody likes the idea of foreclosure, but it is a fact that of reality, and those people are going to lose their home. Now what they're trying to do is say, hey, Mr. Bank, you didn't legally take my home. You didn't do it the right way. And now what I want you to do is I want you to give me the $300,000 for the home you took away from me illegally or improperly. I don't think they made that big a mistake. You know what I mean?
Right. And I don't like the idea of the entity or the people that were not making payments getting a windfall out of this.
Yeah.
That doesn't sit well. What concerns me even more, though, is if we even take that part out of the equation, what the effect on title to some of these properties.
Oh yeah, and how many properties?
Yeah. I mean, this could be a mess.
Yeah. You know what? And now now that the Supreme Court has said, yeah, you can sue them for that. What really are the damages? Are the damages the value of the home that was foreclosed on? Was it, what damages did they really incur? Especially if a judge says, well, okay, you lost a home at this value. However, you didn't make your payments for 3 years, and that's this much money, and you subtract it from that equity. I mean, this is a mess.
Yeah. And this case had very limited application to because of where it came in. It came in at the very beginning of the suit stage, and it was just asking, can somebody that was in a house that was foreclosed by somebody who didn't really have the right to do it go sue for wrongful foreclosure? Mm-hmm. And they said, yeah, you can do it. But the case itself doesn't address any of the questions you just raised. I mean, what are the damages?
Yeah.
What do we do with this mess now that we've proven that title's all messed up?
Yeah, if the court is saying, yes, you can sue, then the court is saying, yes, there are damages. Otherwise, there's no reason to sue. And if there are damages, how do you calculate the damages?
Yeah. And how do you straighten out title for the poor guy down the road?
Yeah. What a mess.
Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a few of these floating around out there before too long. And probably make a little bit more court opinions on the issues that we've just talked about.
Well, I got to tell you that this is fascinating. Wow. This is, what? I watch a series on television called Suits. I don't know if you're familiar with it or not. And It's about this guy who has a photographic memory, who used to take the bar for people that couldn't pass the bar because he had this photographic memory, but he really never went to law school himself. But he was practicing law, and he did and with a prestigious firm that had only Harvard lawyers. And this guy was committing this fraud about being a Harvard lawyer and all this stuff going on. And some of the people in the firm knew about it, which is part of the background of what's going on. But now he was going to be caught. And does that mean then that this guy who was not a lawyer, everybody he defended, whether they got off or whether they got found guilty, do all of those cases have to go back to court?
At least as the ones that got found guilty, there would be an argument,
because he wasn't. He didn't get a proper defense, right?
Right. Or it's like that other real world mess that we talked about here a few months ago, where the phone tap orders out of Riverside County that did roughly a third of them in the nation are suspect because the elected DA didn't sign the application.
Right. I remember you saying that.
Yeah, it just is crazy.
Yeah, you would think that especially, county governments and city governments would be dotting all the I's and crossing all the T's, making sure that they weren't taking liberties of shortcuts that were going to create this kind of havoc,
Yeah, exactly. And, I don't know how that thing ever got rolling out there in Riverside County. It just doesn't make any sense.
Do you know what was the result of that? Do we even know yet?
No, I don't think we have the final outcome. I know it's been impacting cases coast to coast.
Wow.
It's kind of a crazy thing. But the world we live in.
Oh yeah. You know what though? It's we need to put a tracker on this Supreme Court case to see what happens with this. By the way, is that the California Supreme Court or the U.S. Supreme Court?
No, it's California Supreme Court.
Well, we know where it's going next then.
It could go up there. The difficulty being that it deals with state property, so there might not be a federal issue to be decided there. I think they may argue because it involves federally chartered banks that it might be able to go that way. But by and large, states are given pretty large window of opportunity to resolve their own property laws. So I don't know where it's going to go.
Wow. Boy, that's going to be a mess. We need to keep track of that because this is just fascinating. I mean, this is going to be I can't even say what I want to say because it wouldn't. You would think I was Marco Rubio if I said it. This is just a fascinating thing. I just can't hardly imagine. I mean, the technicalities involved and all the specifics involved, how this gets resolved. I mean, it's one thing for this to happen, and then for the courts to say, yes, you can sue, and not define, the parameters upon how you determine the validity of the suit.
Yeah. And then our legislature better address this in the future. I mean, I could see him coming up with some sort of statute of limitations on this specific type case, and I'd put a very short window on it and say, hey, in 90 days after foreclosure, if you haven't brought the suit, we're certainly not going to let you bring it. What would this be?
And then make that law retroactive.
Yeah, if they could, yeah.
Yeah, that's what somebody's got to do. Stop this.
They got to do something so it doesn't just start screwing up titles all over the state.
Yeah, but then they got to get in deeper because they can't open a door for the banks to continue this process the way they're doing it.
Right. Yeah, I would hit the banks pretty hard if they foreclosed without having authority. I don't think that the person that's not making the payments on the house should benefit. But
yeah, you know what? I agree with you. You know what's going to happen. What's going to happen is exactly what you're saying. The legislature is going to get involved in this thing. They're going to create. They're going to create this statute, this short-term statute, and they're going to say, even though these people didn't act within the 90 days, that doesn't let you go off, free and clear here, Mr. Bank. We're going to fine you $1 million, and that goes into the government coffers, right?
Yeah, I mean, that solved a lot of problems. I can deal with that.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll reduce my taxes if we get enough.
I don't think David, don't count on it, buddy.
No, I'm not. I could more likely see another pleasure boat out in the L.A. harbor taking cruises around there for, what was it, $3 or $4 million a year.
Yeah, absolutely. So listen, we've got about 2 minutes left before we have to say sayonara. I'm wondering if you're planning on going fishing on the rainy weekend that we're supposed to get.
I was thinking real serious about it. There's actually this thing called the Fred Hall Show that's going on this weekend over in Long Beach. It's the big fishing show of fishing shows, probably one of the bigger ones.
Is it indoor? Is it indoor?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I went to that last night, and I'll tell you, they got more stuff catch fish than you can shake a stick at.
Wow. Does it become almost scientific that there are ways that you can actually attract and hook fish because of the modern technology advancements and things like that than just a hook and a worm?
I think they're going down that way. I think the biggest scientific part is mostly in locating the fish. With the fish finders and, the sonar and all that other stuff that is out there. I mean, you can get this stuff that, probably tell you whether the fish has pimples or not.
So listen, I saw an article in the paper. It actually was yesterday, where they are taking grizzly bears off of the endangered list and making them available in Yellowstone, or not in Yellowstone, but the perimeters of Yellowstone to be. You can hunt them now, and I'm wondering. I mean, bear meat is not tasty. It's greasy. It's heavy. It's not even good. The only reason somebody would hunt a grizzly bear is just for the pleasure of killing, or the bear skin, I'm guessing, but certainly not for the meat. What are your feelings on that?
My honest feelings on that is I wouldn't eat bear meat. I think it's a situation where man has interjected themselves so much into the normal predator-prey relationship out there that that's the only reason I can assume they're allowing a limited hunt out there is, I'll give you another example. They have been maintaining the wolves on the endangered species list up in northern Idaho, Montana. And the wolves right now are just decimating the elk herds. Yeah,
matter of fact, I think wolves also have been taken off that list. That I caught this on the Associated Press wire yesterday, and there were 3 or 4 different animals that are taken off of that thing. I think wolves and grizzly bears. Matter of fact, a lot of different species of bears. Anyway, here's the deal: we're out of time, and you need to go fishing.
And I'm going to probably get out there as long as it's not raining too much. I bought me some new little lures and things, and I'm going to go play idiot and see if I can do it right.
All right. Hey, David, have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe, stay happy, and make everybody around you better, which is exactly what happens to anybody that knows you. So have a great weekend.
I will, and you do the same, Bob.
All right, we'll talk to you next Friday. And for the rest of you folks, do not go away, because when we come back, we're going to have the birthdays for the day. We're going to have the secret teachings for your life, the Harvard business tip of the day, and interesting but useless facts. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Leinberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:41 p.m. Pacific time. Currently 68 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's on its way down to 51 degrees. But if you're listening to us on our global syndicated network and you're in Vienna, Austria, well, 37 degrees and clear. And if you're in Madrid, Spain, 45 degrees and partly cloudy. But you know what time it is right now? Yep, it's time for the Harvard Business Tip of the day. And here's your tip for today. The management tip is get more done when you're traveling. Sometimes the key to being productive on the road is to think of yourself in the third person as someone you need to carefully and deliberately influence. For example, make appointments with yourself. Schedule tasks in your calendar and consider them firm deadlines. If you have a long flight, make some reasonable commitments to yourself to get things done, but also allow time for relaxation and pleasure. If you're working on something that will require extra time, find a stopping point when you're actually in the groove. It'll make you more enthusiastic about picking it up again later. When you've finished a task, develop a habit of stopping and feeling the earned satisfaction. Sit back in your plane seat or on your hotel bed and take in the joy of having completed something difficult. This creates new neural connections that associate productivity with pleasure rather than resentment. You know what? And that's good advice, folks. Just know that that's good advice. Well, let's talk about the secret daily teaching for your life. It's a lifestyle teaching. It's all about a positive mental attitude. And, we talk about this every day. You do control whether you're rich or poor, happy or sad, successful or a failure. You control whether the people around you are comfortable and happy. It's all about a positive mental attitude. I'm telling you, this stuff works. Now, the secret for today is, as you focus on the good things that you feel good, and you are bringing more good things to the world. At that same time, you're bringing more good things into your own life. When you feel good, you uplift your life and you uplift the world. Are you beginning to see the phenomenal power that you have in this world just through your existence? Yeah, and it's all about, you got it, a positive mental attitude. Well, you know what today is, just like everybody else does. It's Friday, it's March the 4th, and it's somebody's birthday. And we've got some great birthdays for today. First off, here's a guy born in 1877, passed away in 1963, an inventor of the three-position traffic signal. You probably never heard of him. His name? Garrett Morgan. Yeah, the three-position traffic signal. And here's somebody that hopefully you all knew. She was born in 1932, died in 2008, a South African singer and civil rights activist. The Grammy Award-winning artist is often referred to as Mama Africa. I actually got to see her in partially in concert with Harry Belafonte one time. Happy birthday, Miriam Makeba. And here's one, born 1966, children's author and artist. He's best known as the author and illustrator of the Captain Underpants book series. Happy birthday, Dave Pilkey. Well, what happened today in history? That's always interesting. I can tell you, on March 4th, 1797, in the first ever peaceful transfer of power between elected leaders in modern times, John Adams is sworn in as President of the United States, succeeding the father of our country, George Washington. And in 1917, Jeanette Rankin of Montana becomes the first female member of the United States House of Representatives. And then, finally, on March 4th, 1925, Calvin Coolidge becomes the first president of the United States to have his inauguration broadcast on radio. Well, it's time for our quote for today. Today's quote comes from Blaise Pascal and says, "Clarity of mind means clarity of passion, too. This is why a great and clear mind loves ardently and sees distinctly what it loves." Give that some thought. That's poignant. That's pretty cool. Well, it's time for those interesting but useless facts. We've got a number of them here, so let's get right to them. You know what? Turning a clock's hands counterclockwise while setting it is not necessarily harmful. It is only damaging when the timepiece contains a chiming mechanism. So you want to be careful the way you do that. Now, how about this? If you look at the top of a globe and spin it clockwise, when you look at the bottom, it will be spinning counterclockwise. Isn't that interesting? When you look at the top of the globe. Yeah. How about this? The range of a medieval longbow is 220 yards. That's a little more than 2 football fields. That's quite a bit. If you think about it, I wonder how accurate they could have been. I'll bet you probably quite a bit. Did you know that make a fist with your left hand? Now squeeze your left thumb, then put your right index finger down your throat. You now have a gag reflex. Now, if you did that, shame on you. Did you know that Play-Doh was first manufactured as a wallpaper cleaner? Well, it could still be done that way, but you got to be a little careful. Did you know that a fetus develops fingerprints at 18 weeks? Yeah. Fingerprints. You know, don't you find it fascinating? Yeah. Did you know in every episode of Seinfeld, there is a reference to Superman? In every single episode. Just little things that we know about. Well, you know what? Jehangir, a 17th century Indian Mughal ruler, had 5,000 women in his harem and 1,000 young boys. He also owned 12,000 elephants. Man, I got to tell you, I've been married almost 51 years. I can't handle the one single woman I got, much less 5,000. Give somebody a break here. Jeez. Did you know that the movie Paris, Texas was banned in the city of Paris, Texas, shortly after its box office release? Don't know why. Never saw the movie, so that's why. Anyway, let's try this one on for size. Ergonomic water beds are the latest must-have on the bovine circuit. The beds, listing at $175, are said to enhance cattle health by reducing joint damage. Now, let me give you one last one here. The word clitoris comes from the Greek word meaning side of a hill. I'm not even going to go there. But don't go away, because when we come back, I'm going to answer your emails. My first email comes from Kylie Ukimpang. I'm sorry if I'm messing that up, Kylie. She's from Colonial Hills, Virginia, saying the wedding is off. Is there a tax break too? I'll tell you all about it as soon as we come back. Don't go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:53 p.m. Pacific time. Still currently 68 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. And if you're listening to us on our global syndicated network and you're in Tokyo, Japan, it's 48 degrees and mostly cloudy. And if you're in Sydney, Australia, it's 81 degrees and partly cloudy. Well, we're coming down to the wire here. Time for me to answer your emails. But before we do that, I want to remind you that this is an entertainment part of the show. We do our best to answer your questions as thoroughly as we can. Sometimes your information is just a little sketchy, so we always encourage you to contact a licensed professional before you do anything. They're going to save you more money than they cost you, and they're going to give you peace of mind, let you sleep at night. And one of the requirements that they have is that they have errors and omissions insurance. Same thing as malpractice insurance. But what it means is they pay the piper if they make a mistake. And that is why you get to sleep at night, not worry about registered mail or somebody knocking on your shoulder. Well, first email, as I said, comes from Kylie I think it's Kimpang. I'm sorry if I'm messing this up, Kylie. Anyway, from Colonial Heights, Virginia, saying that the wedding's off, and is there a tax break too? And writes, I bought a house with my fiance a year ago. We've since broken up, and he's moved out. I can't afford to keep the place by myself, but its value has risen. Can I take any of my gain tax-free if I sell it? Well, you know what, Kylie? The answer to your question is yes. Normally, to take tax-free gain on a home sale of up to $250,000, a single taxpayer must own and use the house as his or her primary residence for 2 of the prior 5 years. But if the home sale is forced by unforeseen circumstances before the 2 years is up, gain is a proportionately reduced amount can be taken tax-free. Now, the IRS regulations actually specifically give the canceling of a wedding after buying a home as an example of such an unforeseen circumstance. So the answer to your question is yes. Next email comes from John Lautenslager from Olathe, Kansas, asking about depreciation decision. Says, I plan to start a sideline business while keeping my regular job. If I take the Section 179 deduction for the equipment that I buy, but the startup has a first-year loss, can I take the deduction against my salary income? Well, you know, John, if the business is a proprietorship, then the answer is yes, you can take its 179 deduction against your salary, but you might save more tax in the long run by not doing that. Why? Say you buy equipment, the cost of which normally is deductible through depreciation over 5 years. The Section 179 deduction lets you deduct up to $112,000 of the cost right away this year instead. This faster deduction sounds good, doesn't it? But slower depreciation deductions taken later when the business may turn profitable will reduce that 15.3% self-employment tax as well as the income tax, which the current deduction against salary will not do. Look at the numbers both ways before making your deduction choice. You'll be glad you did that. 15.3% is a big chunk of dough. Now, next email comes from Jaden Allo from Monroe, Michigan, asking about a dependency exemption and says, my mother's living in a nursing home and has run out of money, so I'll be paying her costs. Are there tax write-offs that I can get for this? Well, you know what, Jaden? The answer is yes. If you'll be paying more than half of your mother's support, you probably will be able to claim her as a dependent and get a dependency exemption for her, even though she's not living with you. Now, that'll let you claim a medical expense deduction for any medical costs that you pay on her behalf, your mother may also be eligible to have Medicaid pay her costs. So take note of this. Payments from Medicaid and Social Security count as support from other sources when determining whether you provide major support. So if you need more details on this, go to IRS Publication 501, and that'll make life a little easier for you. Now, my last email comes from Jonah Avina from Fort Collins, Colorado. Says injured spouse status, and writes, my wife was hit with a back tax bill dating back from before our marriage. I'm told the IRS can take my tax refund to pay her tax debt, even if we file a joint return. Should I file separately? Well, you know what, Jonah? There's a better alternative to this. Claim injured spouse status by filing IRS Form 8379, Injured Spouse Allocation, with your joint tax return. Now, this protects the portion of the tax refund on your joint return that's allocable to you from being taken from the IRS to pay your wife's tax debt. Now, filing separate returns will increase the tax rates that you and your wife pay without reducing her tax debt, and also would likely cost rather than save money. So keep that in mind. Now, I want to remind everybody, please go out and get our app. It's absolutely free. If you have an Apple product, go to the Apple Store, search Robert Cardoza Live. It's right there. It's absolutely free. Download it. And if you've got a Windows or an Android product, go to googleplay.com and search Robert Cardoza Live. Again, the app is absolutely free. If we're broadcasting live like we are right now, a little flag will come up to say live. Otherwise, all of our archives are there. There's a little window you can click on that'll let you know what those archives, what the subjects are each day. And we encourage you to do that and tell all of your friends about that. Right now, on my next show, John Matthews and Joe Hakos are going to join me on our twice-a-week simulcast, The Conservative Syndicate. And John Hanson, that little old wine drinker, he's going to be here to talk about food and wine. Please tell all your friends about my show here on the RLC Broadcasting Network.
That's our show for today. Beginning today, treat everyone you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. Extend them all the care, kindness, and understanding that you can muster. Your life will never be the same again. So many of our dreams at first seem impossible, then they seem improbable, and then when we summon the will, they soon become inevitable. You know, the real secret of happiness is to make others believe that they're the cause of it. Robert Cardoza Live is brought to you by blogtalkradio.com every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Now, go out and make it a great day. Your host has been Robert Cardoza, the technical advisor, Matchstick Digital, and your executive producer, also Robert Cardoza.